Hi, I'm Elizabeth.
And I'm Cindy.
And we're here with another Feeding Frenzy for the Master Key System. We're in part 1,
Day 7.
Day 7.
This one's a little longer.
Okay.
The world within is governed by mind. When we discover this world, we shall find the solution for every problem, the cause for every effect. And since the world within is subject to our control, all laws of power and possession are also within our control. You may read it again?
Read it again.
The world within is governed by the mind. When we discover this world, we shall find the solution for every problem, the cause for every effect. And since the world within is subject to our control, all laws of power and possession are also within our control. Explain.
You explain. I talked a lot yesterday.
Well, so did I. Well, the world within is governed by the mind.
Mm-hmm.
We've already talked about that over and over because our mind is what controls what happens around us and in us.
To us.
And to us.
And from us.
Agree. And from us.
It also influences those who are close to us.
Right. Right. So everything is within our control because we control or create from our mind.
I agree.
Agreed? Okay. When we discover this world, we shall find the solution for every problem, the cause for every effect. Do you agree with that?
I do. I do. Even though some of those problems may seem out of my reach. If I stick with it long enough. You see what I'm saying? If I study the problem long enough, if I seek tools to help me uncover the answer, or I speak to others who have more experience than I do believe, yes, that I will find the answer.
Okay.
For myself.
Okay, so when we talked about the prosperity plan earlier, on the 40-day plan, we talked about once we have a question or a problem, then the solution is already there.
Mm-hmm.
So,
It's just a matter of uncovering it.
right, or finding it, or drawing it to us.
Because
however you want to
I
think
believe
about
that we come with everything that we need. We come with all knowledge. And based upon our needs, our wants, our desires, and our focus, we uncover parts of that knowledge. It doesn't mean that it's not there. It's just we haven't gotten there.
Okay.
Just like outer space was there long before we started exploring it.
Okay.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I look at inner space the same way as outer space.
Good and wrong.
Just because I haven't explored it yet doesn't mean it's not there to be explored.
Okay.
I just haven't discovered a way to get there. So just like getting things in outer space or exploring outer space, we use the tools that are surround us and the people who have more knowledge in order to get there.
Okay. That makes sense. I get that. And since the world within is subject to our control, all laws of power and possession are also within our control. Then why do bad things happen?
That is a big subject.
Or why do things that we don't want to happen happen?
I believe we also work on a realm of conscious thought and unconscious thought.
Okay. You're talking about the subconscious mind?
Right. Right.
And you think that's why bad things happen to us? We have all this bad stuff in there?
Well, I think we perceive things as bad in the moment.
That's a good point. Does that mean they're really not?
I guess it just depends on your perspective.
Okay. Okay. How about that?
I myself know of a woman who's lost both of her legs. We can look at that as a bad thing to happen. But in her perspective, it changed her world. For the better, not for the worse.
Wow.
Do you see what I'm saying? So I think it depends on our perspective as to whether I see it as bad or something that's just merely the catalyst for change.
Right. Another thing we tried to do recently was to take all judgment out and quit calling things bad and good.
Right.
And that was really hard for me. Some things that happen just can't see the good in it.
Well, one of our teachers, Edwin Gaines, is fond of reminding us that if we call it good, it has to be good.
Do you believe that?
I do believe it. I do believe it. Because as soon as I call it good, I start looking for the good in it.
Okay.
And
I
just like
believe
going back to the answer is there, and if I take the time and the focus in order to find it, I will find it.
So
I think if I call it good, it has to be good.
I don't know that I'm to the point where I totally buy into that. I'm really trying, but I do see where if I change my perspective about it, then the chances of me finding the answer are a lot better than if I just live in the misery of it and say, "Oh, poor me, why did this happen to me?"
No, we can choose to live in the misery too.
Right, or to be the victim. And
Right.
so if we're looking for the answer, or we're looking for the solution, or we're looking for the positive or the good, then that's a whole lot better than living in the misery.
Oh, absolutely.
So even if there's me calling it good, it makes it good. Even if that's not true, it's a whole lot more fun living on that in that perception.
Well, and I'm not saying that calling something good in the moment makes it immediately good in my
Right.
perspective.
Right.
I still have to look for it. I still have to find it.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
But if we're looking for it, we're going to find it more than if we're not looking for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if we're not looking for it, we'll never find
I
it.
myself I'd rather be looking for the good.
Well, yeah, and living on that hope, if nothing else.
Mhm.
So right after we had talked about not judging things, is when we found out my mom was sick, and that was really hard to find the good in
So
that.
how did you face that one? Just learning not to judge something. How did you do that one?
It wasn't easy, and I don't know that I did it well, but I tried to look for the good in it, and there were a lot of things that I found good about it. It was hard for me to call all of it good because it wasn't. It just wasn't. But I can see the good in it. I can see how we all grew from that, and we learned from that,
absolutely.
and there was a lot of good things. We grew closer than we would have otherwise, and not just with her, but with other family members, and it helped me to see the good in a lot of people that I may not have seen otherwise. So I can see a lot of good things that came from that. However, calling it good is still hard to do. Although I know, well, I won't even go there, but there's a lot of that I'm sure she created herself, and that's still a little hard to chew. But it doesn't really matter. You know, it is what it is. It happened the way it happened, and a lot of good came from it.
Yes.
So, I don't know. Like I said, I still have a little bit of trouble buying into that everything we call good is good, but I can see where it's better to live in that question and in that hope than it is into the misery of it.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
It's a lot more fun living in that place than
Almost definitely.
crying over whatever's happened. Okay, anything else from this one? All laws of power and possession are also within our control. Do you believe that you have all power and possession in your control? Or
I
all
do.
the laws of that in your control?
I do. Once again, as Edwina has said, we are the masters of our own experience, and I totally believe that.
So why don't we have everything we want, or why aren't we everything we think we should be? Why is there that desire still there that has not manifested yet?
If it hasn't manifested yet, then I believe I'm not there yet. I haven't aligned yet with it. Meaning, I've not reached it yet. But I'm always in transition.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you and I talked about once that so many times, they make fun of women who change their mind a lot, right? Well, I believe the universe works in like fashion. The universe, meaning everything out there that's not me, I guess, is always working for me in response to my desires and my wishes. And every time I change my mind, well, I've made a course correction. So it still takes time for the universe to switch again. And if I'm seeing a delay in my manifestation, then I need to look at, well, how many times did I change course in that? And so I'm going to add more time to there.
Right.
But I also need to ripen along the way. I have to be where I can receive it.
Mm-hmm. Also, like what Edwin says about when we have a goal, we ask, what do I need to change about myself to reach that goal? So if we haven't yet got the money or got whatever it is we're wanting, it may be that we haven't changed what we need to change about ourselves that's keeping us from that. I've said oftentimes that we're the only things that limit us from having and being and doing everything we want to have, be, and do, is because we are in the way. And if we could learn to get out of the way, then we would have and be and do those things. That's not easy.
No, it's not easy. I could decide today, I could have the desire to be a doctor. There are certain things I'm going to have to change about myself in order to get there.
Oh, yeah.
There are certain avenues I'm going to have to take. There's education I've got to get to. It doesn't mean I won't manifest it. It just depends on my focus. How focused am I to getting it? Am I willing to change what I need to change in order to get there? And am I willing to wait for the time? There's time.
Right, because you can't just change it.
Because I can't change myself immediately, I'm not going to be able to manifest that one immediately.
Right.
So I've got to honor the time it takes as well.
I get that. I used to wonder, okay, if all this stuff is written down in books, how come we can't just read the book and get it? But I'm learning that the words mean different things at different times in my life, and therefore each time I read it, it changes, or I've changed. It doesn't change, but I've changed to where I understand it in a different way. So it helps to reread and restudy, which is always hard for me, because once I've read it, I don't.
You figure you got that.
Yeah.
Why go back to that?
Right. But I'm learning, like I said, I've started this book several times, but reading it today is different than reading it 2 years ago.
Yeah, when I went through school the first time, I did not understand the significance of studying history. Hated history. It was just a matter of learning facts and people I didn't know and trying to remember where they were and why and etc. But as I get older, I understand the significance because we understand concepts differently where we're at, And so we do learn by our history,
right? Oh yeah.
Even the greatest scholars say, hindsight's 20/20. When I look back on my history, I can see how far I've come.
Right.
Well, we study the lives of people that are with us now, but we also learn from the lives of the people who are no longer with us.
Right.
So studying history is extremely important.
Yeah.
Because we're in a different place when we do it.
Yeah. Oh, Mallory and Emily are listening to this.
History is very important. No matter if you're in high school or in college.
You can learn everything is important if we just learn from it, no matter what it is. As long as we're learning, it's important. Okay, I think we've done for today.
Are we done?
I think so. What are you going to take away from this? The world within.
History.
The world within is governed by mind. When we discover this world, we shall find the solution for every problem, the cause for every effect. And since the world within is subject to our control, all laws of power and possession are also within our control. We're more powerful than we think we are, or than we realize, and we need to keep in mind that we're in control. We're in charge, and we have all that power and possession. It doesn't leave anything out.
That pulls into mind for me something that came to me a while back that helps me remember. I'm always ordering tomorrow's menu today. I'm always ordering what I will see a week from now today. So if I don't like what I see, it's not necessarily something that I'm doing in the moment, but it's something I did a while back.
Right.
So if I keep in forefront, I'm ordering what I'm going to see next year or next month or even next week, then that helps me keep in mind I am more powerful than I think I am.
Right. It also keeps us on track for what we're doing today.
It does.
Yeah. All right.
Very good.
All right.
Shrink.
Shrink.